What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again with the preview show. I hope everyone's fit and well. And yes, I've been looking forward to this since the fixtures come out. The first thing we look at is when Forest have got Liverpool at Anfield, and the day has arrived tomorrow. But this time, we need to win. As you know, Forest are in massive trouble in the bottom three. And as you know, the latest result today is Southampton are winning Arsenal 2-1. So hopefully, Arsenal can come back from that. But we're here to talk about the massive game for Forest, both teams as well. I've got a special guest coming from the Liverpool Day Trippers. And we've got Kev O'Sullivan. How are you doing, Kev?
I'm really good. Been a rocky season for us, especially considering the heights that we've had the last few years. But the last probably second half of the Arsenal game and the Leeds performance, you can see kind of slivers of where Klopp wants to take the next evolution of Liverpool. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I just want to see him play and see how he beds this new thing in and see how it evolves.
100%.
But yeah, no, looking forward to the game, especially because it's Forest as well.
100%.
It's where I grew up in Ireland. I mean, I'm probably a bit old. I'm over 50.
I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there, Kev. Nearly there.
One of my best friends in school, in primary school, was a Nottingham Forest fan, and he started following Forest in the late 70s. And to this day, he still gets over to the City Ground. He's still a massive Nottingham Forest fan. I see him a couple of times a week, and he's like, looking forward to this one, and for everything that goes with Nottingham Forest against Liverpool, it's especially poignant this year. And I think everyone is looking forward to this.
100%. People in the chat, man, show some love to Kev. As you know, he's got a YouTube channel called Liverpool FC Day Trippers. So, Kev, let's talk about the channel before we talk about tomorrow's game.
Well, I'm only a small part of the channel. The channel, what we tend to do is basically guys who go over to Anfield. We're based in Ireland. Most of the lads are based in Dublin, but we've got contributors from the UK, from North America, Canada especially, and as well as Ireland, North and South. And it's mainly just fan led. It's not a shouty, ranty channel. It's usually level-headed people. Most of us are in our 40s, so we've seen the bad times, the good times, the Hodgson times, and we're back in the Klopp times. We forget about the Hodgson times. We don't talk about the Hodgson times.
I remember the days for Liverpool as well.
But it's just like, I mean, the other thing that we do as well, an awful lot, is we raise an awful lot. We do our best to raise money for charity. None of us do podcasts for money. It's not, we don't get paid for 100%. Any of this. But what we do have is a platform and a voice. And at the moment, we're trying to raise money there's 12 women from Ashburn GAA Club in Dublin, and they're doing the Dublin City Marathon. And I think 8 of them have never ran a marathon in their lives. But they decided to run a marathon this year, and the Dublin Marathon is in October, and they started training for it in February. It was cold and dark and horrible. But what they're trying to do is raise money for breast cancer awareness. So what we're doing is using our voice and our platform to try to help raise money for that. We have a golf day coming up in Dublin that's going to help raise money for that. All of the super chats that the channel earns goes directly to them as well.
Well, that's brilliant.
And it's just once, we try to do 1 or 2 charities a year where we just try and raise money. At the end of the day, we're a group of guys we all have a drink, we all have a laugh and a joke. We love talking about football. But at the end of the day, we're just guys talking on a podcast about football. If while we're doing that, we can raise money for charity, then bonus. You know what I mean? Gotta love it.
Like I said, people should get in the chat, show some love to Kevin and his channel, and make sure everyone can subscribe to Liverpool Day Trippers. Right. Let's talk about it. And you know what? Before we do, Keller, let's talk about the game at the City Ground first, because that's the game we like people in the chat as well. You know what? Before we do, let's go for the chat as well. Mohammed says, "Hi, Dora. Let's hope tomorrow we can get a 3 points, but I don't see us winning this game. So my score prediction: Liverpool 1, Forest 1. Come on, you Reds." Hadi says, "Evening, Mr. Dor." Well, Eve says, "How you doing? Good evening, Mr. Dor. Hope you're well. Tomorrow is 6 months since we beat Liverpool at the City Ground, and that's what I want to talk to Kevin about in a minute." That says every team in this league can score away, draw against, win. Oh, wait. Every team in this league can score away, draw games, win games. But sadly, we're going down. Razdad says, "How do you, Razdad? Even if it's door, I reckon we get a draw at Anfield. I'll take that. I'll take that." John says, "Evening, guys. How are you, Josh? We are all good. Right,
All good.
okay. Let's talk about the game. We beat you 1-0. What was your thoughts on that game?"
I remember doing the post match about it, and do you know what? I wrote down what our lineup was for that game tonight because I thought I know pretty much in my head what our lineup is going to be tomorrow, bar maybe one. But I just had a quick look, and our lineup that day was Allison, Milner at right back, Joe Gomez, Virgil, Robertson at left back, Fabinho, Harvey Elliott, and Curtis Jones in the middle of the park, with Carvalho, Salah, and Firmino up front. Now, I remember at the time, Klopp was going through this where we hadn't won an away game all season, and he was just trying different things. And it was in the middle of a European fixture at the time, and he tried playing a 4-4-2 diamond with Carvalho in the 10 and Bobby and Mo Salah up front. And on the day, we had enough chances. We created more than enough chances to win that game, but just couldn't finish our dinner. We had 15 efforts on goal. Dean Henderson made 7 saves on the day. He played out of his skin, and we got caught by a stupid mistake. And at the end of the day,
you've got to give Forest credit, though.
Oh yeah,
you've got to give the credit.
In this league, if you're not on it, or if you're sniffing yourself a bit, or if you feel like you're entitled to something, this league will punish you. And at the time, bearing in mind the season that we just had, that we were on the verge of completing a quad, went into the season, and we just weren't at it at all. And Forest on the day were. Like you said at the beginning of the podcast, there's going to be games when you get promoted. I remember when I was living in Bristol, I was following Bristol City, and the amount of times that we got close, and you get the playoff finals, and you start thinking, "Oh, we're going to be a match of the day next year," and I can go and follow City or go down to Ashton Gate and watch XYZ sides coming down because I was working around the corner from there, and you look for the sides that come up. Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal. These are the fixtures that you come from the Championship. You want to stamp your authority on. I make a statement on. Forest going into that game were in a wretched run of form. I think 3 draws, 6 losses, something like that. It was poor. And we sniffed ourselves, and we were so not at it. And Forest were. The intensity, the snapping into tackles, organisation, and pace on the break. And when the chance came, above all players, I only took it. And
ex-Liverpool
came through the youth system. There was no pathway for him at Liverpool, but the pathway was through going on loans abroad, going to Union Berlin, and then back through Nottingham Forest. And he is a good player. Nottingham Forest, when they I remember you come on our channel and you explained the situation of why Forest had to do what they did.
Yeah.
And we stood back and it's like, yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense now. So blending that team, trying to get a balance and getting it to work. And when it works, I remember the reaction from your manager at the end. It was just pure elation, and the fans were unbelievable. The atmosphere was amazing. But our post-match was brutal that day. And it wasn't me. I can see
it.
I was sat there. I was like, you had Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott in the middle of the park. We were trying something that didn't work, and we got caught. And I was kind of like, I'd resigned myself at that stage to what this season was going to unfold like. But the people in our chat were baying for blood that day, because there's certain fixtures you look at, and they're the ones that you look at on paper, and you think, these sides that come up, you should be beating them. And I'm sat there, I'm like, hang on. Those sides that come up are used to winning games. They're used to scoring goals. They're used to keeping clean sheets. They have an attitude of winning. We don't at the time. And that's what sides in the Premier League who are established in the Premier League for a long time don't get with sides that come up from the Championship. Like Burnley next season, Burnley will come up and do well for the first 10 games of the season because they have a mentality and an attitude of winning football games. That can take you a long way. And it's the rest of it is filling in the blanks. But look, it should have been a turning point for Forest. It wasn't quite the turning point that it was, but that came. really good spell of fixtures, a really good spell of results, and then it's just been a dip in form and a turn again. But that's going to come when you got so many new players bedding in. I mean, we've seen it with like trying to bed in one or two players into your side. If the language barrier isn't quite is there, and you got those kind of issues, when you're trying to do that with a virtual squad, that's so difficult. And if he manages to do it and keep Forest up, it'll be one of the best achievements a Premier League manager has done in many years. And that's no disrespect to Forest or the players that he's done. You never see a side make that many signings come up and make it work. It very rarely happens. So if he manages to do it, kudos to him.
Let's talk about your manager, Klopp. This season, I've seen like you expect to be like in the top two, like or even win the league. As a Liverpool fan, what's your opinion on him? Because I see like you batter teams. And then the result that I was really surprised, I think everyone was surprised, was the Bournemouth result.
Yeah.
When you lost 1-0. But as a fan, are you frustrated? Do you think it's Klopp's fault? Or do you think it's like, because this season for me, as a Forest fan, I think I see it as like Liverpool's still a big team, regardless of whatever they do. It seems like it's a transition season because you lost big players like Mane, really put play for like actually last season. But as a fan, what's your opinion on Klopp?
I love the guy. Love the bones of the man. He can stay until he retires, as far as I'm concerned. He's got so much credit in the bank. But he hasn't been helped by, one, his players, two, the club owners, and he hasn't helped himself with certain traits of his that are, in any other manager, you'd look at you'd look at loyalty and those kind of traits in a manager, and as a player, you'd sign for that alone. If I'm signing for him, I know that he's going to trust me, and through hell or high water, he'll stick with me. But there's people who see that as a negative, and it can be at times if you're too loyal and you trust players too much. But we were stuck between a rock and a hard place. We'd rebuilt our forward line in the previous transfer windows over probably 3 windows, bringing in Jota, bringing in Diaz, Nunes. We knew that Sadio asked to leave 12 months beforehand. So it wasn't news that Sadio was going. Bobby has a year left in his contract, and we just signed Mo to an extension. Now, if I'm Mo Salah, I don't believe that Mo Salah would sign an extension to Liverpool if he didn't buy into the project for the next 4 or 5 years. It's going to be the last big contract that he has. We also had to rebuild at the back with waiting for Ibu Konate, rather than panicking the window previously to bringing him in, where we brought in the guy from Preston. I can't remember, he's a phantom figure. But you know what I mean?
The centre back. Yes, Davis, wasn't it?
Yeah, Davis. We brought in him and one other on loan, and it was like, look, we wanted Ibu, we had to wait.
From Berlin. Were you here for Berlin?
No. Well, we brought
Schalke.
Yeah, it was from Schalke. But no, we brought Ibu in from RB Leipzig. He was playing at RB Leipzig with Upamecano.
Oh, okay.
And our fans were, Upamecano is the one, you got to go and get him. There was a few of us that sat there like, nah, Ibu Konate is the one. He's a far superior footballer to Upamecano. But we all knew that the midfield was the last part of the rebuild, because you've got Oxlade-Chamberlain with 12 months left of his contract and injured, couldn't sell him. You had Naby Keita, injured all the time, can't stay fit. And when he does stay fit, he can't stay on the pitch long enough. Last year of his contract. Now, it's not Football Manager and it's not FIFA where you can just decide to sell players left, right, and centre. Players have a contract. They're perfectly entitled to sit and go for nothing. That's, contracts. There's 3 parts to a contract: the player, the club, and the selling club, the buying club. Nobody's going to want to buy Ibu or Naby Keita. Nobody's going to want to buy Oxlade-Chamberlain, but they will offer them free deals. So that's 2 places in your squad that you would love to have changed, but you can't because they won't go. And then you're starting to look at what we'd done previously in the previous season, played 64 games. It adds up. And this summer is huge. I think if this summer he gets the tools that he needs, And they don't have to be the shining stars, the Jude Bellinghams of this world. But you give him good players to work with and to use, he will develop players into being better players. Even a Mason Mount. If Mason Mount comes in with all of his experience, you could develop a Mason Mount into being a much better
Is he the right player for you, lot? Do you think he's the right player for you, lot?
When you watch us tomorrow, you'll see what Jordan Henderson does in that new role, where Trent inverts
I like Jordan Henderson. Even if
I love him as a leader, but he's 32 years of age, and it's like he can't keep doing what he's doing. But the thing is, where Trent will invert into a second six, really, he'll commit to it really early. So we'll almost line up with, when we're on the ball, with a back three, two sixes, Fabinho and Trent, then your front four and a striker up front to play off and around. So Salah and whoever's playing as your right mid will be very close together, and the same on the opposite side. But if you replaced Mount with Jordan Henderson, very close to Salah in that attacking role, and you commit to the press from high up, it means that when Forest turn the ball over, you have to force them either to go long quickly, and you'll trust Virgil and Ibu against Brennan Johnson and whoever is playing up front 1v1, and Robertson is your cover, or you win the ball back high out the pitch and create a counter press to try to get at Forest that way. This new way that he's evolved in getting Trent into the game helps Fabinho an awful lot as well, because he doesn't have the legs to cover the amount of ground that he used to, but he's still very good at snapping in when players are around him. He's a walking yellow card, mind. So if anyone's doing a bet tomorrow, Fabinho to pick up a booking is as sure as night follows day. But it's still a work in progress. And as fans, all we can do is look, we will get caught out. It is open to a quick counter if you can play through the press. We have to hold our nerves as fans to say, look, there is method to this madness. You saw what we did to Leeds. We played really good. The first time we tried it was against Arsenal. No tougher opponent to try it against. And for the bones of an hour, when Granit Xhaka decided to wake Anfield up, we were really good. And we come back from 2 down to 2-0. Scored 6 against Leeds.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. But the problem is our last win in the league came at Manchester United. Now, the beauty of that was a 7-0, but then we went on a run of pants.
What? Bournemouth as well.
You know Bournemouth. The Bournemouth one didn't surprise me that much. And it won't surprise me tomorrow if Forest get something, because sides...
Hope we do. It's not like we do. I hope we get something. We need points.
Any side in fighting for their lives, the longer a game goes, the more hope that you have, the harder it is to break a side down. The early goal is what does it. If you can get the early goal, force any side in the bottom 6 to come out and try to come out and get a result, then it opens the game up. Then you can rack in a result. But the longer it stays 0-0, the longer it goes on, tensions build. Anything can happen. But yeah,
people there, you come to
bonkers.
You can do massive favor. Please do hit the like button if you can, and as well, I'm just going to go through comments as well. Chris says, to be fair, they missed a couple of sitters. I think he's talking about the game that Forest beat Liverpool 1-0. If Forest fans don't remember, Rebel City says, hope is always the last thing to die. You Reds as well, like a Liverpool fan as well. Bonkers. Yeah. Ben Johnson is aware of. It should be beat you lot 3-0. And again, from Bonkers, it should be the same team for the Forest game, or replace Fab for Thiago because he gets a card so he misses a couple of games.
That's a problem, actually. He's Fabinho, I think, is 2 bookings away from a suspension. And Liverpool have a very, very slim hope of getting top 4 if a lot of things go our way and the sun shines and the dog's behind once. But you can't afford any more mistakes. We can't afford another Bournemouth result. And our record at Anfield is very good this season. I think the only side to beat us was Leeds, and that was our own stupidity. The rest of the time we've beaten City, beaten Newcastle, thumped Manchester United. It seems that when we're playing at Anfield, the crowd does make a difference. And that in itself is a problem. You know that you have to be. When we were at our best, we were replicating home and away. It didn't matter. So we're nowhere near where we want to be, but at home we're a tough nut.
What's your opinion about getting top 4? Because like it's a massive ask. That's how your form's like. It's been a yo-yo. But do you think you get top 4?
No, I think the Bournemouth result ended it for me. The thing is, I suppose if you looked at the table and look who's playing I think they're playing Sundays, Newcastle and Spurs. And I think Newcastle have to play a couple of sides around them. So do Spurs. Spurs have to come to Anfield as well. If we get 3 points tomorrow and win our game next week, I think 4 of our next 5 games are at home. So all we can do is keep them honest. I think that's being truthful about it. All we can do is keep them honest. But I think the Bournemouth results is what's going to hurt us the most. I think we're going to be a couple of points short. But at the end of the day, I'd take European football after the season that we've had. And I think we need to be in Europe. The one side that I would be keeping an eye on is Villa. Villa and Villa and Brighton. Brighton have played 29. They've got 2 games in hand on a lot of the sides around them. And the form that they're in, if they get a result on Sunday, they'll bounce into their league fixtures and have full confidence, no fear. So, yeah, it's up for grabs. And the thing is, you look at the Premier League as a whole, you look at the fixtures for every weekend, there's something on almost every game. You know, normally by now you'll have a few sides on the beach. That's not really the case this season. Every single game has something on it. Something's riding on it somewhere. So, you know, that's why I'm enjoying this season. As opposed, you know, rather than I've almost, because as I said, I've detached myself as a fan from winning titles. That's Arsenal's purview now. Arsenal can go into
little cheap shot Arsenal fans there. Little cheap shot Arsenal fans.
No, Arsenal can go into games now knowing the draws or losses.
Yes,
you know and that's what this is what it feels like when you're up against Asterix FC. You know, it's like, you know, there's a reason why they've got 133 charges against them. It's like, yeah, they're like the Energizer Bunny. They keep on coming.
As well. People like a massive game. Forest Liverpool tomorrow. If you are going, please, I'm going to the game. So people, if you want to get on a vlog, message me on Twitter or Instagram. You can get on the vlog. Kev, I always say from the start of the season, where did you think Liverpool? Start of the season, where do you think Liverpool finish? And right now, where do you think Liverpool will finish? So, at the start of the season, where did you thought Liverpool will finish?
I'm going to every season thinking we're going to win the league. I think we're going to win everything. I always do. But realistically, I thought it would be very difficult to maintain that level. We already started seeing the drop off come in the last 4 or 5 games of the season. We didn't do enough business in the summer, but I honestly thought we'd be pushing Man City to push for a title. Definitely thought we'd get top 4. Never thought we'd drop out of it. At the moment, I think if we finish 5th, it would be, look, you're not going to take it. It's not going to be a good season, but given the context of where we were and how we were playing and what we were doing, if we managed to get 5th as some kind of a salvage operation and see some kind of something to build on going into next season, I'll be comfortable enough with that, because I know that the money is going to be spent in the summer. But it's like, I'm disappointed, obviously, but I understand it, and I'm not entitled enough to think that we have an entitlement to be in the top 4 or in title races or anything like that. We don't. But I expect to see better football next season than what we've been served up this season. I expect to see more commitment, more aggression, a nastier side, a more horrible side to play against is what I want to see, and just go for the throat a lot more, you know, instead of being passive. That's all I want to see. If we win anything by playing that, I'll be happy.
Forest.
Yeah, if we win anything, I'm happy. If getting to final, it's the journey. Sometimes I remember like the final we lost against Seville in the Europa League. that was like, it was the journey was unbelievable. The games against Dortmund, magical nights. You know, the when we lost in Kiev, it was still the journey of getting there. You know, it was some fantastic nights of those journeys. You want to be involved in that, you know, and if you can be involved in that, then, you know, brilliant. But we need to see a lot more out of Liverpool next season for sure.
100%. People, one more question for Kev before we do go. Get your score predictions in the chat if you can. Kev, last one. What is your score prediction for tomorrow's game?
Like 3-1.
Forest.
I think we'll win at 3-1. I like the fact that Jota's back scoring.
He scores past Forest every single time.
He gets in good positions.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't. I think he's a really good finisher. His form has deserted him since his injury. He had a long injury as well, and I think Jota will get on the score sheet. I think Salah will get on the score sheet, and I'm hoping.
I saw a start. If Salah scores tomorrow, has he broke the record?
He's broken the record for the most goals scored by a left footer in Premier League history.
Right. Okay.
But he's one off. Robbie Fowler.
Right. Top player Fowler.
When you think about it, that he's doing that from right wing. It's freaky. But none of us ever saw this coming. None of us ever saw this coming with Mo Salah until we saw his first game against Watford, and he missed about 5 or 6 chances. And we sat there, I was like, if he can tidy up his finishing a little bit, my God, this man is not the Chelsea reject that everyone said he was in the summer. You know, he's a special player, and this new way of playing gives him more space and time, and it gets him involved a lot more. So yeah, I'd go with 3-1. But to me, I couldn't care less if it's a scuppery 1-0. I just want 3 points. I'm at that stage at the minute. I'll take a scuppery 1-0 and just get out of Dodge.
I want to beat Liverpool. Everyone knows I've got so many Liverpool mates. My brother Guy, he supports Liverpool, so I want to beat Liverpool again. Result, Bonker says 3-0 to Liverpool. Razda says 1-1. Mohammed says 1-1 as well. Right, Kevin, it's been a pleasure. And as you know, people, I will be on the Liverpool Day Trippers at 10 o'clock on their channel. So, all Forest fans, please do click on the title of the YouTube channel and support me, because I'm not going to keep my mouth shut on this one, because I want to beat Liverpool. Everyone knows how I feel about Liverpool.
Absolutely.
So, if you count all Forest fans, I will put it on it's on my Twitter, it's on my Instagram. Click on the link and be there for 10 o'clock, because it's going to be feisty. And everyone knows how I feel about. I want to beat Liverpool. That's the first thing. When the fixture come out, I looked at when have we got Liverpool away, because like I said, we've not played you. I know. I forgot to mention before we go. In the 80s, the rivalry it was.
Obviously, it was huge in the 70s with
70s, 80s,
with Paisley and Clough, and then Joe Fagan took it on with Clough as well. What Nottingham Forest achieved in the 70s will never be equaled. It never ever will. Let's just call it as it is here.
Yeah.
The football has evolved and moved on from those days, but at the same time, that rivalry was real. It was, if you could finish above Liverpool, you were winning the league. In the 70s and 80s, if you finished above Liverpool, you were winning the league. And from yourselves winning the European Cup in 1978, I think you played us in the first round in 1979 when you won it the second time.
Yep.
Or was it 77, but he played us in the first, and he knocked us out in the first round, and then he went on to win it again.
Yep.
It can never be stated enough how big this rivalry was and how real it was. But at the same time, the other side of it is I've seen the banner that Forest are going to unveil tomorrow, and there's always got to be a thing that binds the two clubs together now that's greater than any football, and it's something that will never ever be forgotten, and never will be forgotten inside the grounds as well. So you know it's going to be supported in the right way tomorrow. You won't hear any of the stupid chants that you get from other fans. You'll have 2 sets of fans giving it socks for 95 minutes, and all we can do is sit back and enjoy it.
100%. Right, people, get going. Like I said, I've been at Anfield for the first time ever. I'm looking forward to it. So, if you do want to get on a vlog, please message me like on Twitter, Instagram, or whatever. And if you will be watching this live stream, in the comment section below, what is your score predictions? Forest fans and Liverpool fans, or any neutral fans who is subscribed to my channel. Kevin, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you in half an hour's time. Make sure, like I said, people, go on Liverpool Day Trippers. It's in the title. Go and subscribe to their channel, and I'll be there at 10 to get Forest fans show me some support. I'll be back on a live stream. I got the review show. Oh, no, I got the after game review straight after Anfield. So there'll be myself, Des, and a few other Forest fans, and hopefully we can win at Anfield. Last time we beat Liverpool was in 1970, I think.
1968.
1968. That's the last time we beat Anfield. Can Forest win? I'm praying to God we can beat Liverpool, because everyone knows how I feel. But yeah, after game review, the review show is Sunday at 8 o'clock. That'll be with myself, Dylan, Stephen, and there'll be someone else as well. So that'll be 8 o'clock Sunday to talk about the game. God, I'm looking forward to it. Tomorrow, massive game. If you go in, let's have fun. Don't forget, people, 10 o'clock on Liverpool Day Trippers. I'll be there with Kev. It's going to be fun. Peace and love, Forest. Up the Reds.
Bye, guys.